Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're going to discuss Canvas, which is a tool that's available to all 6th through 12th grade teachers and students at Corinth. We'll be using Canvas to continue instructions at the 6th through 12th grade levels as we deal with school closures. As we get started, I wanted to point out that we will be accessing Canvas through Clever. Both our students and our teachers will access Canvas through Clever. You can navigate to the Clever login by accessing the Corinth homepage and then clicking on the Clever login, and that will take you to the direct login link. As a teacher, your username is your Corinth email address, and your password should have already been set by you. If you need help with your password, please contact me at howens@corinth.k12.ms.us, and I'll be glad to help you get logged in. Your students will log in with their unique username and password. Their username is their MSIS number, and if you need help with their password or their username, please send me an email and I'll help you with that as well. Once you log into Clever, you land on the home page. You can access Canvas by clicking directly on the little Canvas link, and it will take you directly to your Canvas page. Before we get started in Canvas, I want to point out that Canvas is a cloud-based service, which means that we don't house the servers for Canvas at the Corinth School District. Due to COVID-19, several schools are using Canvas, so services and uploads may be a little bit delayed at times. Also, we're embarking on a new adventure for both ourselves and our students. Let's remember to be patient and to allow ourselves to make mistakes and learn as we go. I'll be here to support you and help you all along the way, and no one expects you to become a master Canvas user overnight. First, I want to acquaint you with some of the features of Canvas. This is called your global navigation bar. So you can go in and actually change how your notifications are set up. If you notice up top, there's a legend that tells you what you currently have. So if it's a check, you're getting notified right away via your email address that's listed. If you notice, I have 2 email addresses in here. I have my personal email and also my work email address. On some items, you may want a daily summary. Some items you may want a weekly summary. And so for some items, you may not want anything sent. For your course activities, these are the things that you're mostly going to be added in and doing, so you will be, as the instructor, setting due dates. You will be setting grading policies, you will be adding the course content, the files, so on and so forth. So if you don't want any notifications on those things, you can select Don't Send Me Anything. One thing that I would turn on under the course activities is the submission comment. I want to be notified right away of submission comments. What that means is as your students submit their work, they can communicate with you actually in that assignment portal. You can add comments directly in the assignment and they can comment back to you. So what that would do would be to flag you via email to go in and see what that student said. Another item you would want to make sure that you have turned on are the conversations. The conversations are Canvas's inbox. You would want to make sure that you're getting notified as students are emailing you within Canvas. Okay, and you can scroll through and change your notifications as you see fit. Okay, let's return to your dashboard. So on this dashboard are all the courses that you have access to. As you add things to your course, you'll receive notifications for things that are coming up. If you would like to color code your courses for easier reference, you can do so by clicking what I call the kebab, the 3 vertical dots, and you can change the color. Please note that the students would remain the default color. This would just be for your organizational purposes only. So we're going to go in a blank shell. So this is what your course looks like when you have absolutely nothing in it. Students cannot see your course until you publish the course. If you look over here on the right-hand corner, this course is currently unpublished. Clicking this button would publish the course. Your course may already be published, and what we can do if we're not ready for our students to see content and we're trying to add things in is that we can choose to unpublish assignments, and we can choose to unpublish modules as well before we go live or make them available to our students. On the left-hand side of each course, you have a navigation menu. If you click on the settings, which would be on the left-hand side, one thing I want to point out is the student view. So if you go over here to the right-hand side of the page, you can see what your course looks like to students. So this is a good way to flag things that might not be flowing seamlessly. For example, our students right now would not be able to see the course because my course is unpublished. If you have modules that are not published, the students will not be able to see it. If you have dates of availability that are off, you would not be able to see those modules yet in Student View. So it's a good way for you to mimic your students' experience in Canvas. Okay, so we'll go back to the home page. And probably one of the first things that you'll want to add is a schedule or a syllabus for the online component. Personally, I like to add a checklist of items for each day or for each week or each module, depending on your unique needs. You can also utilize what's called the syllabus tab in Canvas, so you can click on the syllabus tab. And what's unique about the syllabus tab is that anytime you create an assignment or something with a due date, it goes into your course summary, so your students will be able to see that. So I've switched over to a course that I currently have going live just to see what that course summary would look like. You can see that every item, this is the due date, and here are the details to the assignment, and it will actually give a direct link to the assignment. So this is a good way to organize your course materials. Also, I've included a course schedule that I copy and pasted into the Rich Content Editor and included a syllabus as well. So let's go back into our blank course and see what that would look like. To add a syllabus file, you would go to this Edit button. And you're presented with what's called in Canvas the Rich Content Editor. And you'll see that you have a lot of features you're used to seeing in a word processing program such as Microsoft Word. You have the ability to make your text bold, italicized, underline. You can play with some of the formatting features as well. Notice that you can insert media. That includes a video. You can insert a picture as well, and you can also link to URLs. If you wanted to record a message for your students, you could do that as well through this Record and Upload Media button. That's a really good way to communicate brief messages in Canvas. For now, we are going to add in a little bit of text. And we'll go in and add a file. So anywhere in the Rich Content Editor, you can add in a link to anything that you add in the course, and you can add in files as well. So I'm going to navigate to the File section and upload a new file. We'll choose our file and browse through our computer. Okay, and then we see that our file is presented there. We will upload, and a link is there for our students to access that particular document. So I'm going to click Update Syllabus, and our students will see the following. Please review updated syllabus with a link to the file. Our students can click this little preview button, and they will see the file inline, actually within Canvas, or they can click this link and download the file themselves. Okay. They have those options with file types that you embed throughout the course as well. I wanted to go ahead and show you that. I know that we are in uncertain times, so creating a syllabus might be difficult as we're not sure how to proceed along. But that is a really nice feature to point out, particularly the course summary, to where all of the items that have a due date are put in a nice consolidated format. If we don't add a syllabus, one of the first things that we would do would be to add content to our course. And how we do that is through modules. So think of modules like a folder. For this emergency online class, you can set up your folders in whatever way is meaningful for you. It may make more sense as we go along to date your modules by week. You may already have some course designed by units or 9 weeks. Since we're fluid, it may make more sense to post that information in weekly folders with dates, but that is certainly at your discretion. To add a module, you would click the plus module. In Canvas, when you want to add materials, always look for the plus sign. And I'm going to label mine Week 1 and add the dates, because this just makes sense for me, is to add week by week. Okay, so anything that we put in this module will be in the Week 1 folder or the Week 1 module. Notice you have a grayed out circle here. This is currently not published. That means our students cannot see this folder nor anything that we add in this folder. So even if items that we put in the folder are published, the folder level is the top level, and if the folder level is not published, no contents within the folder are visible as well, unless it's an assignment link. So there's no content that would be visible within that folder. Okay, so we've created that folder and we're ready to add content. Again, we would go to this plus sign, and we could pull down our menu to add content. You have several options. So once you have created an assignment, you've created a quiz, you've created a discussion board, or even if you have external tools or external websites that you want to link to, you can add them directly in under that module folder. We're going to go for a file here today. So we want to pull a new file. We're going to choose our file, and I want to upload first my weekly checklist. Okay, so these are the list of things that I want my students to do this week. I've listed out due dates, I've listed out what assignments there are, and I want to go ahead and have that checklist for them so they know what to expect. Okay, so that will be the first thing that they see currently in this module. Notice it came in published, but they still cannot see it because our Week 1 module is not published. Okay, so we've added our file. You could add in any kind of document. You could add in reading assignments, PDFs, PowerPoints. I would encourage you as you go along to make announcements, weekly announcements in Canvas to explain the process. You can also utilize the remind system to let people know that you have content posted. Another way that I have created a checklist format is by creating a page in Canvas and adding in all of the files within that page module that I want students to access, and also creating direct links within that page. So I'll show you what that looks like as well. So you'll notice in this course I have it set up by week, and I've created a page, and I've utilized the Rich Content Editor to creatively format different sections. So in Week 1, my students know that they're supposed to read the course syllabus. They have direct links to their reading assignments. They know that they are to go to the discussion board. They have the due dates. I've embedded tutorials directly within this page as well. Another checklist option is where you create a page and you just post your instructions with direct links. So here I have created an academic honesty component, which is just a quiz. And if they clicked on that link, it would take them directly to the academic honesty quiz that they need to complete. So you can create your course in whatever format that you would like. I would be more than happy to help you with however you want to design your class and to help you think about adding content. Of course, as we go along, it may be easier to just do a document checklist. So create something in Microsoft Word that the students can look and have to reference, or it may be adding just a page with some simple text. So whatever works best for you, please do that. And as we go along and we learn more about Canvas, I can show you some of the tools and tricks to get both course formats that I showed to you with the page modules. Okay, I also wanted to show how to add into a module an external URL. So you can add in a direct link to a YouTube video that you've created, or to a source that you have gotten somewhere else. I encourage you to give careful thought into what you name your page. This is what will display to students, so this will flag them as to what they are watching. So for example, we may call this our week 1 video lecture. And in our checklist, we would want to make sure that whatever we name our page name is what we reference in our checklist as well, as to avoid confusion. So if we tell them to watch the week 1 video lecture, it needs to be consistent in the page name as well. Okay, so we'll add that, and we will make that link viewable through publishing it. And when our students click on that link, it will redirect them to YouTube. Currently, where I am recording, I do not have access to the YouTube video, so I won't preview those options for you. Another thing that I might want to do in my class is to create an assignment. So I would go to the Assignments tab and click the Add Assignment. I would give my assignment a name. I'm just going to call this one Week 1 Assignment. And I could type some instructions for the Week 1 assignment and tell the students what I wanted them to do for that assignment. In this rich content editor, again, you can post links to a video, you can post an image, you can record a video of yourself. There are several options that you have when creating this assignment prompt. You can choose whether or not to assign a point weight to your assignment. If you give the assignment a 0-point assignment, it will still come up in the student notifications on their to-do list and in their syllabus as well. Okay, so you can choose what point value to assign and grade that as well. You can choose how to display that grade. So do you want to display it by points, by a specific letter grade? I default to points. For the situation that we're in, you may want to do a complete or incomplete depending on how your department and your principal has set up any type of grading scheme. For your submission type, for face-to-face, what a lot of people do are either a no submission or on paper. You want to make sure that you are having your students submit online. Now you can have your students submit through a variety of options. You can have a text entry, which would allow the rich content editor to come up. You can have them actually submit to you a website URL. You can have them submit a media recording, and you can choose to allow them to upload files. The file upload is certainly the most popular option. That means that they can upload a Word document or a PDF or even a video. You have the option to restrict upload file types, and please note that you can select all of these options as well. So if you wanted them to have multiple means of submitting their assignment, they could do that. So if you wanted to set this up as a group assignment, you could actually go in and create names. So we could name this group set our Canvas training. And you would probably want to create these groups either manually or split them into groups based on the number of students that you have. Since I don't have real students in this class, I will cancel this and deselect the group assignment option. Okay, so you would go down and make sure that your appropriate assignment selection was displayed. So if you did a group assignment, you would want to assign to everyone in a group, or you may want to assign to a specific person or a specific group. And you would go in and select your assignment due date. I like using 11:59 p.m. That is a clean time for me. I usually do most things on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And if you only want the assignment to be available for a certain amount of time, you can set your availability dates. Okay, so that would be when the assignment would be visible to students and when the assignment would stop being visible to students. So you have two options. Once you're finished, you can either save or save and publish. So if you save, it will go in your assignments tab, but your students will not yet be able to see that assignment. If you save and publish, they will be able to go ahead and see that assignment within their assignments tab. Okay, so if you go over to your assignments, your students will be able to see that directly within that link. Let's go back now that we've created an assignment, and we can actually add that into our module. So we've created a week 1 assignment, and we can go in and add that assignment that we created directly under the module. So we have everything in a clean and organized space underneath that folder. I also wanted to point out under that syllabus tab, now that we have something with a due date, it goes under that course summary. So your students can see that assignment, they can see the due date, and then they can access that assignment directly from the course summary link. Another item that you may add into your course are quizzes. So we'll go through and we will learn how to create a quiz. Okay, so remember in Canvas, the plus sign indicates that we're adding something. We're going to name our quiz. I'll just keep consistent and call this our week 1 quiz. Again, I can give quiz instructions through any of the tools that we have discussed with the Rich Content Editor. I can add in the link, I can add in an image, I can add in a video segment. And under our quiz options, you'll notice that we have the ability to shuffle answers. So what that means is students would have the answers presented to them in a different format. You can set a time limit. So if you want students to be limited to, say, an hour to take a quiz, you can do that. And after that hour is over, Canvas will automatically submit the quiz. So they have 60 minutes from the time they open their quiz to complete that. One thing to consider with the time limit is making sure that the students are aware that once they open that quiz, they have 60 minutes to complete it. A good place to notify students of that would be in the quiz instructions. So before they open up the quiz, they will be presented with the quiz instructions and could read that there. You also have the option to allow multiple attempts. So if you want them to have more than one try, you could select that. You also can allow students to see their quiz responses. You can choose whether to only let them see it once, and you can select whether or not to let students see their correct answers at a certain point of time. And you can hide the correct answers at a certain point in time. So after those dates, they will no longer be visible. In your quiz format, you can choose to show one question at a time. So the default is if you have a 20-question quiz, all 20 questions will be put on the screen at one time. You can choose to show one question at a time and have students scroll individually one by one for each of those 20. Okay, and you can again assign that to individuals, you can assign that to groups, or you can assign this to everyone in class. You would set a due date, and you can set availability dates as well. Okay, so that is under my quizzes. However, all we did was to create that quiz shell. Okay, so remember we didn't add any content whatsoever. All we did was created the settings. We created a title and we created quiz settings. So we would want to go in and edit. We have to add questions one by one. And we would enter in our question text here. And then we would have our correct answers and all other possible answers. So you can add another option to that and update our question. Okay, so that's how you add a multiple choice. Multiple choice is what comes up by default. You have a wide range of question options. You have true, false, fill in the blank, multiple answers, drop downs, matching, numerical, and essay questions. One thing I would caution is if that you're doing any online test or quizzing, you need to assume that everything is open books and open notes, and that even if you implemented a lockdown browser or some type of cheating deterrent, your students will likely have access to multiple devices as they're at home. So you need to consider this as you're designing your test. You can do essay questions or do something that's a little bit harder to simply Google an answer. Okay, and notice that you can change the point value for each question. It defaulted to 1. If I wanted this particular question to be weighted 10 points, I could do that, and I would go all the way through adding questions until I had all of the amount of questions that I wanted, and I would save. I could go back into my modules, and I could add that quiz directly under my week 1 module. Another thing that I wanted to point out under the quizzes is that you can choose under this question a file upload. You can actually embed pictures yourself, so you can have students upload files within the quiz as well. So if you wanted them to do something on paper, you could ask them to take a picture and then upload their work within that quiz as well. We just need to be creative in our approach. I would be more than happy to give you any guidance on that. You tell me what you want to do in the class, and we will work really hard to make sure that we can make that happen. I'd also like to show you the discussion feature. The discussion board can be used to engage students in meaningful conversations around a given topic. The conversation does not have to be done at a certain time, so the students can come in and the students can post their thoughts and their responses to the posed question or the posed prompt within their own time. This may be a good option for students who may not have internet access consistently throughout the day. Discussions can be set up with the entire class, or you can set them up in groups, and they can serve as an assignment with a grade, or you can use them just for clarification or sharing information. For example, in my class, I always add a class questions board. Sometimes I may name it something differently than class questions, but the basic concept behind it is that it's always a place for students to post and to help each other answer questions. As the instructor, you can certainly go in and review and clarify points within that board as you need to, but it's really a good space for collaborative learning. I want to give you a preview of a discussion board that I have set up for one of my class, and I call this one the class community board. And so what I've done is I've left this space to remain open all semester to post questions or give advice, even to offer encouragement. So as the instructor, I've posted a couple of questions as well. The students have posted inquiries or shared resources through this board. You could use that just as an open topic for any of the classes that you were conducting online this semester as well. One other thing I want to point out, and something that I do in all of my posts here, I have included discussion board guidelines. You may certainly feel free to use these. If you would like these sent directly to you, I will be more than happy to share my particular guidelines that I use. But in all of my prompts, I create the prompt first, and then I copy and paste my discussion board guidelines. Okay, so I allow my students, in this class in particular, choice in how they respond. I don't necessarily make them type out a response as long as they have well-developed thoughts. I also encourage them to read and reply to other students' posts. I also put how long this particular board will remain open, and for this class, there's no makeup work for the online discussions. That may be harder to do given our current circumstances. And I also post a rubric to the discussion board assignment as well, so students know how they will be evaluated and their expectations content-wise for each of the discussion posts. Okay, so let's go in and actually set up our first discussion board. And I will title this Week 1 Discussion. Again, we have that rich content editor. And I grabbed my discussion board guidelines, and that's what I do for each one that I create in my classes. And then I go in and I type my prompt above it. So just for us to note, I'm going to say Week 1 Discussion prompt, and you would put whatever prompt you want them to address. You have the option of guiding them to a link. That could be a video, that could be some type of external resource. You can also add in a video, you could add in a photo, or you can record and upload your own video. Now, it's important to remember, if you do allow them to have choice in how they respond to your discussion board, they have all of the same options on their rich content editor as you do as well. So it may be important to post that information as well. We can share some videos with you on the student side of how to post on the discussion board as well. I'd be more than happy to share those as you desire. Okay, so once we get our prompt ready, notice that you can link in even to any other point on this page. So if you want to go back and reference a page or content that you have already developed, you can certainly do that. You can add in files here that you've already added or upload a new one. You can add an attachment to the discussion board, so maybe there's something that you want them to reflect upon. Under your options, you have the choice to allow for either what we call a focused or a threaded discussion. So the focused discussion are those that are usually used for a weekly discussion. They're typically short-lived, and with the focused discussion, you get one response and one layer of comment per the post. Your threaded response allows replies within replies, and they last for longer periods of time. So they're good to iterate ideas shared by students and to continue on conversations. I usually will allow for threaded replies. That's certainly at your own discretion. You can also select the option where users have to post a discussion board thread before they can see other people's replies. Depending on how you want to set the class up, that may be a good option for you to select. You can choose whether to grade your discussion board post. If you do select a graded option, you can assign 0 points, or you can weight that as a graded assignment. And when you select the graded option, you can assign a due date to that discussion board post. Once you assign a due date to that discussion board post, it will go onto the syllabus page and it will go onto their to-do prompt. You can set up groups for discussions. And you can change your availability date. So if you don't want this discussion post to be available until a certain time. You can change the launch date on the available from under the until box. Okay, so I think I have everything how I want it, and I am going to save that. Notice I didn't publish that, so I want to go back and publish that if I'm ready for everyone to see that. And I want to go back in and add a direct link to the discussion. You certainly don't have to do this each time. It just makes it easier to see, at least from my perspective, everything under one folder here. They would be able to click on the discussions, and they would see all of the discussions within this particular area as well. One final point that I want to cover is the option for a virtual class meeting option, where everyone is anticipated to log in at a set time during set hours. So you, the teacher, can be available to conference with your students either via some type of chat option or a video conferencing option as well. We're currently working on setting up YouTube accounts where you can live stream to your students. You could use the YouTube Live, and the students could stream the video on the phone. If you record on YouTube Live, after the session is over, you could add in that video lecture directly to a module, or you could create a whole new modules just for your video lectures. There's also been an abundance of support from video conferencing providers such as Zoom or WebEx. And these companies have reduced their restrictions and requirements for accounts, and they've made a lot of options that are normally paid versions free. Zoom is pretty user-friendly. You can add a link into your class for Zoom and download instructions for students to either call in through their phone, or you can have a link where they could do a live conference. There are a number of options for you to get the live component. I know that at least a couple of our teachers have utilized what I'm about to show you, the course chat. So when people come online, you can see who is online, and I could go down and send a message and we could have a chat online as well. Canvas also has what they call conferences, and you could go in and add a conference, and this is similar to what you would see with Zoom or WebEx or an external conferencing. I have conferred with Canvas, and as you see the notification now, this service is being overwhelmed, so even Canvas at this point is recommending going with an alternative conferencing solution such as Zoom, or we can provide support and instruction on a few video conferencing options as well. If you would like to try the Canvas conferences option, you could add in a conference. All you would do would be to name that conference. So I could call that week 1, and I could do a 60-minute conferencing. You would want to enable recording, and you would give a description for this conference. So this is going to be held from 9 to 9:30 on Monday, March 23rd. Okay, and we're going to invite all of our course members to that. And once we get ready, we can start that session. And you would be taken to an option where you can join by microphone or you can listen only. There are tutorials that are available on this conferencing tool as well. If you notice, there's a start recording button, so you can get in and you can play with this system before you ever start recording. You would join with audio here. You could share your webcam, and you can also share your screen with your students. So you have a whiteboard space that you can work with and work on. While you're on the call, You can start a poll, you can upload a presentation, you can share an external video, you can have students show their whiteboard as well. Again, I'm showing this to you. You may certainly try to use this, and I think that it is a fairly decent system. However, with Canvas's warning, it may be better to go another route as well. Maybe we could use this for individual small conferences. However you decide to set up your classes, please understand that as we try things, they may not work for our students. So we do need to remain flexible and willing to change and support our students in ways that make sense for both them and us given our current situation. I also wanted to point out that several of you are using tools that are external to Canvas already. So you can certainly share your Flipgrid and your flip codes. You can put any of that information into Canvas. Please continue utilizing the tools that your students are familiar with. You can just add in whatever information that you need, either as a course module. If there's something that you need to communicate privately, you can send an email message to them through the Canvas inbox and notify students to check their inbox for whatever particular code or access information that they would need. Canvas is a great repository and central location for both disseminating and receiving information. I did also want to point out, I know that there have been a ton of resources that have been shared on social media for free accounts. One of those is Edpuzzle. You can upload videos into Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle will let you either upload your own video, or you can take an existing YouTube video or a Vimeo video. It will allow you to embed questions directly in the video, so you can prevent students from skipping ahead. You can make sure that students are engaged in the video as they answer questions that are put in strategic points within Edpuzzle as well. So please feel free to take advantage of the Edpuzzle resource. I'd be more than happy to help you with that as well. I know several people have been using the free version, which limits the amount of videos that you can upload, but for right now, Edpuzzle has removed that restriction. So please keep all of these resources in mind as we develop engaging content for our students. And last but certainly not least, we are ready to help you. You can send me an email at howens@corinth.k12.ms.us. We can set up either an individual or a group session to talk about how we can get things online. I will be more than happy to help you with Canvas and any other tool that will help you during this time. This is the first in a two-part series. The first part is getting information online. I thought it was important as we transition to get all of our materials ready to go online. There will be a second part coming out, and in that video we'll be talking about how you can actually see what students submitted for their assignments, how you can see their quizzes, how you can use analytics to see who is logging on and who's not logging on, how you can engage students, and how you can customize and send out information to just one student or a group of students as well. Thank you for joining us, and remember, we're here to help you.